Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Foreign Correspondents Club of Japan, here in the room and online. My name is Khaldun Azhari. I'm former president of this esteemed club and member of PAC Committee Professional Activities Committee that organized this press conference. Our guest speaker today is at my very right, Ms. Galyna Mykhailiuk. She is the member of the standing delegation of the Verkhovna or Parliament group of Ukraine and NATO Assembly, and she is also co-head of the groups of interparliamentary relations with Japan, Australia, and New Zealand. And to her right is Mr. Oleh Seminskiy. He is a deputy co-chairman of the groups on interparliamentary relations with Switzerland and Japan. Today's talk is about the role of Japan in the situation of Ukraine and in the war on Ukraine, and also what is Japan doing and what is the future role of Japan after hopefully the peace comes to that region and that country. And we will have a presentation by both of our speakers for about 10 minutes each, and that will be in English. And also will be followed by Q&A after that. And we finish at 12 o'clock. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we will start our event. Thank you. Please.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, esteemed colleagues, it's a great pleasure and honor to be here today and to represent our delegation of the Parliament of Ukraine visiting your remarkable country. It's highly important that Japan supported Ukraine during the very first days of our full-scale invasion to Ukraine, and Ukrainians are very much grateful for every single piece of support that was provided to us. The friendship between our nations has been built on foundation of shared democratic values and respect of international law and steadfast commitment to the peace and stability. Ukraine is the nation who wants peace, and we are the nation who are dreaming about the victorious peace every single day, and we do our best to have it on our territory as soon as possible. It's highly important for us that Japan is the leader in Asian world, and we do believe that together we could share the fame of our victory, and we will do our best to have it this year. Ukraine continues to struggle for its sovereignty, independence, and freedom. We recognize that this war is not only about the survival of our nation, but about the defense of rule-based international order. We do believe that invaders all over the world and aggressors, they have a look at the situation, at the resolution of the war in Ukraine, and that they are looking forward to invade other regions all over the world if the resolution in the war of Ukraine will be not on the conditions of Ukraine, and it will be a signal for them to invade other territories. That's why it's highly important that the justice should prevail in Ukraine. We do believe that negotiations about Ukraine should be only in the presence of Ukraine. We hope that both US and Europe will participate in the negotiations on the peace deal in Ukraine. And we do believe that it should be only on Ukrainian conditions, because we are the country, the victim country. And the victory plan was presented by the president of Ukraine. It has two main parts, the victory plan. Intensifying sanctions and further isolation of Russia, and increasing military assistance along with long-term security guarantees in Ukraine. That's highly important for us. We do believe that the ceasefire without security guarantees for Ukraine, it will be just a break for Russia to use this time to produce more missiles and then to invade Ukraine the third time. So that is highly important for us to have security guarantees and peace on Ukrainian conditions. We highly appreciate Japan's existing support, including non-lethal aid, and we urgently further need support that includes air defense systems, surface-to-air missile systems, engineering equipment, electronic warfare, unmanned aerial vehicles of various types, and we are also interested in acquiring Japanese military equipment that is scheduled for decommissioning shortly. We would like also to express sincere gratitude to Japan's consistent efforts in consolidated position within G7 to strengthen sanctions, as well as for the restrictive measures that Japan has imposed. We see that sanctions, they are working, although it took time for them to start operation. And we do believe that Russia is financing the war against Ukraine from the revenues that it gets. So it's highly important to shut down like all possible resources to finance the war in Russia. Japan's financial and humanitarian aid exceeding 15 billion of US dollars has been vital in stabilizing Ukraine's economy and rebuilding critical infrastructure. And allocation of 3.1 billion of US dollars Russian frozen assets is a significant contribution to Ukraine's reconstruction. And we do hope that parliamentarians in Japan, they will adopt all possible legal acts in order to introduce the legal mechanism for transfer of frozen assets of Russia to support the reconstruction of Ukraine, of the destroyed infrastructure. We do hope that the budget that is now being discussed in the Parliament of Ukraine for the next year, that it will also include provisions about the support for Ukraine and additional financial assistance to Ukraine. And finally, Ukraine's deeply values Japan's solidarity and commitment to uphold the democratic values. We do hope that the rule of law will prevail, that justice will prevail. That's not possible to have a resolution of the war in Ukraine without perpetrators and invaders to be punished, because we have thousands of families of the victims, civilians, who suffered a lot during this war, and they're keenly waiting on the justice to prevail. So we look forward on working closer with our colleagues from this remarkable country and to strengthen ties between Ukraine and Japan and to assure justice for those who suffered and to build the future based on peace, security, and mutual prosperity. Arigatou gozaimasu.
Thank you very much. Galyna in general speaks. I just a little bit add about what Galyna said. For more than 3 years after Russian full-scale invasions, Japan demonstrates unwavering support for Ukraine. On the March of 2024, when the war starts, the country provided Ukraine with financial, humanitarian, and other assistance, totaling more than 12 billion, becoming the country's largest donors. In 2024 alone, Tokyo allocated 4.2 billion to support Ukrainian budget. At that time, Japan provides assistance to Ukraine through the Japan International Cooperation Agency, JICA, and now this is the moment that, that USAID program practically stopped in Ukraine, and we do very hope that JICA substitute, United States aid general in Ukraine, especially in energy. And I'm I'm deputy head committee in energy in Ukrainian parliament. So, and we very much appreciate to Japanese government that from the war started, that during our first visit in October 2022, that war start, we practically arrange direct contact between our ministers of energy and the necessary equipment, energy equipment, the full range of equipment from small generators, which not allowed or totally black out in Ukraine, to the big, station, a big transformer electrical station, but enemy focused especially, enemy not cross just like a Red Cross, is not bombing nuclear power station, but it bombing big transformer station, which makes big electricity to the small capacity electricity, and it's very, very important for Ukraine practically to have this, a stable station to practically to repair it quickly. We're so much grateful to Japan. At the same time, there is still a strong prejudice in Japan against providing military assistance to Ukraine based on the three principles of arms exports on the one hand, and pacifist sentiments that are deeply rooted in Japanese society on other. Despite that, the fact the public opinion is need to continue supporting for 3 years remains at 70%. This doesn't include military assistance. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your presentation. We would like to open the floor to Q&A. Please, if you have any question, raise your hand and proceed to the front mic. And yes, Shimura-san.
My name is Takuya Nishimura, freelance journalist. Welcome to Japan. And Japanese government have a kind of obligation to each power generation companies to take countermeasures against terrorist attacks. And this is the measures for safety. Is there any suggestion in the measures to the Ukrainian government to protect Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very good question. Our history, the history of Ukraine and Japan, a little bit, familiar, and we have the same problem. We have a problem with Zaporizhzhia, and Chernobyl also as well, and you faced with Fukushima, and the very, very big problem that the second big station in Europe now it's occupied, and nobody knows what happened to the nuclear fuel, what situation. It's very, very dangerous, and I don't speak about that we lost of 6 blocks. Ukraine have a totally of 15 blocks nuclear power, and now is a big deficit of electricity in Ukraine, and so we became a member of European Energy Society, and we can buy electricity from European countries, and now is the day that Zaporizhzhia question is discussed with Trump and Putin. So, and we do very hope that the station will soon transform to Ukraine back. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Kyota Tanaka from the Asahi Shimbun newspaper. Obvious question. There's a news this morning about Trump and Putin talk where they agree that there's a ceasefire to the energy infrastructure within the warfare. What's your reaction to that?
Thank you for the question. I will cite the president of Ukraine, who had presented his speech in front of the press yesterday. Every single day when I wake up here in Tokyo, I check my phone and it looks like this. So this is the number of alerts that Ukraine experienced during the night. So it's like now, 22 minutes ago, 44 minutes ago, 1 hour ago, 1 hour ago. So these are the air alerts saying that the ballistic missiles or kamikaze drones are coming and you should go to the bomb shell. And then you can scroll down and see the amount of these messages. That means that my family in Ukraine, his family in Ukraine, all the citizens of Ukraine were supposed to spend almost the whole night in the bomb shell. And this is every single day. I have photos from yesterday, from them before yesterday. So this is how the reaction of Russian Federation that they want. You want to take a picture?
Yeah. Thank you.
And this is one of the proofs of what President Zelensky yesterday told. I will translate from Ukrainian. So President has presented the statistic of Russian attacks on civilian objects for the last week from 11th of March. 1,342 aerial avia bombs, 580 kamikaze Shaheds, 44 Lancets, and 250 other types of ballistic alerts because of other either missiles or drones entering with explosives on the board entering Ukraine. So these are the numbers that proves actually the number of alerts. So that's why this is the answer on if Putin wants to have a peace. There is no signal. There is no. We do not see any wish of Russians to have peace in Ukraine because they really intensified the terror of civilian population. And it's not only during the nighttime, it's like day and night, but night especially to have sleep deprivation of people. And during the night we have curfew hours in Ukraine, so from 12 till 5 a.m. it's not possible to leave your homes, basically. It's not allowed to walk along the city. So this is the action, the true behavior of Russia in Ukraine, and number of times, dozens of times during this, actually 11 years of war, because it started from Crimea in 2014, number of times there were deals and proclamations on ceasefire, but 0 times that was, these were the reliable words of Russia whom we could trust. So they broke all kinds of possible agreements on ceasefire. And yesterday night and even this morning when we were coming here, it was again the air raid and the alert that everyone should go to the bombshell.
As I said before, I spoke about energy a little bit, and I just want to say that Japanese, aids together with the aids of all countries avoid us to face the totally blackout, and one of the aims of Putin is to put all the Ukraine to blackout, but thanks to Japanese aids, thanks to Japanese, so we stood for heating season practically we avoid blackouts, and we are looking forward that Zaporizhzhia station will come back, and we cut a deficit of electricity. And thank you very much that JICA also support us a big gas station, so-called gas turbine station. We have we practically good with the extracting natural gas in Ukraine, and that's allowed us also to avoid blackouts. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a question online from Mr. Rocky Swift of Reuters News. He asks, 2 Ukrainian refugees are now competing at the top level of sumo, a Japan sport, and have winning records in an ongoing tournament in Osaka. Have you met them, and what is your view of their accomplishments?
I think should be the question to our embassy, that it's not in our timetable to meet them, because recently it's our 3rd official day here, and we had meetings with the Speaker of the upper chamber of the parliament, the Speaker of the lower chamber of the parliament, with the Minister of Justice, with MPs from the friendship group of Japanese Parliament and Parliament of Ukraine. So we have a number of meetings in different ministries, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, in the Ministry of Land and Agriculture, with JICA. So we have quite intensive timetable, and unfortunately the embassy didn't provide us a spot to meet with the people you've mentioned.
What's your feeling about having Ukrainian sumo wrestlers in Japan?
We are very proud of them, definitely.
Thank you. Okay, any question? Yes, please.
My name is Andrew Zimmerman from the Swiss Chamber of Commerce and Industry here in Japan. And I just have to say I feel very much pained every time we look at the news, what's going on in Ukraine. And unfortunately, the story is very long. Why it happened and how it happened and what is now the situation. You have a big aggressor with Putin stealing territory from Ukraine. The other aggressor worldwide is, of course, the United States. So you have now 2 aggressor countries who try to actually make deals on top of your head. And do you think you have a chance to really claim back what is truly yours? Going back to 1914, same situation basically. So what can we basically do to actually make sure that these aggressor countries do not feel above the law, as you mentioned before, international law and regulations, that they really abide to global decisions made by all global countries and not by only 2? よろしくお願いします。
As I mentioned earlier in my speech, we are very much grateful for the international, not only partners, but allies, that they supported us from the very first day of the full-scale invasion, because bravery of our soldiers, just bravery is not enough when you have in front of you Russian army. And nowadays we have in front of us not only Russian army, but they are supported, by North Korea contingent with Iranian equipment, different kind of equipment, and North Korean equipment. So only thanks to the fact that democratic countries all over the world, they combined their forces and all together they helped us. We are still there on the 4th year of full-scale invasion, independent, free and sovereign nation, although a number of intelligence officers, they were given us 1, 2, 3, 4 days, and then we were supposed to fall down in the state in front of Russia. But again, we do believe, and we consciously remind each other every single day that thanks to our international partners, we are still there in our fight for freedom, independence, and sovereignty. We do believe that negotiations about Ukraine should be only in the presence of Ukraine. We will not recognize any kind of decision made by others without presence of Ukraine. Like imposed peace is not possible. And we do not recognize Ukrainian territories as Russian territories, although they held some fake referendums and inserted it into constitution, but there are international recognized borders of Ukraine. And we do believe that our territories are Ukrainian territories, but not someone else's territories. We do not trust any single word of Putin, because they have, I think, they have broken more than 300 ratified bilateral agreements and different kind of international conventions already, 300 plus, that they've actually ratified, signed, and it was supposed to be like a law in Russia, but they disregarded the international law principles. President Zelensky has full support of Ukrainian citizens. We will keep our fight, and we are sure that victorious peace, not just peace, but victorious, justful peace, will be held on the territories of Ukraine. Allies from Europe, from all over the world, from Japan, they are with us. We have strong communications these days, every single day, both on the presidential level, governmental level, and parliamentary level. We are very much grateful for that support that is provided to Ukraine by our colleagues all over the world, so that together stronger. Yeah. And we do hope that justice will prevail over the tyranny, and this turbulence all over the world in terms of, diplomatic globe turbulence, let's say, that as a result, international rule-based order and transparency, it will prevail over any periods of dark times.
But that means basically that there is no possibility of peace as long as Putin is around. Putin cannot accept anything. I think now it's also highly personal, the ambitions of Putin, and as long as Putin is around, there is no possibility for a peace which basically acquiesces getting peace in Ukraine on Ukrainian terms, which means getting back the territories which have been invaded.
His real actions that I showed you today, they are, 100% controversial or different from his words, from his proclamations, what we have heard from the news about the recent negotiations that have been just held.
Thank you. Nishimura-san. Yeah.
Thank you. Nishimura, freelance. There is a political saying here in Japan that Ukraine today is East Asia tomorrow. And do you think any possibility that same thing happens in East Asia, or what do you think how to prevent from that happening here in Japan?
Thank you for your question. As I've mentioned today already, that aggressors all over the world, they are observing the resolution or the reaction of others on the war in Ukraine, and possible invasions to Taiwan, other countries. I mean, they are observing. So will there be punishment if we invade, rape, murder, and then everyone will just, forgive us? And there will be no kind of reactions, sanctions will be too soft. So that's why the situation in Ukraine is for a number of countries an example to follow. If there will be no reaction, then we firmly believe that unfortunately there will be deterioration of peace and international law all over the world. But if the invader will be punished and other countries will know that it's not possible just to enter other territories to say that it's mine, I will kill you, you do not exist, and they think that Ukrainian nation doesn't have a right to exist. Because when Russian invaders, Russian army, they were leaving the occupied territories, when Ukrainian army pushed them back, in one of the homes, Ukrainian home of the citizens, it was written on the wall, "Who allowed you to have a good life? Who allowed you to have a good life?" Because Ukraine, before the war, it was much more developed than Russia. We had a good economic positions after COVID, that our government managed to survive COVID in a more or less good economy shape. So we were investing a lot into innovations, education, reforms, our path to EU integration, NATO integration. We were not investing into military production. We were not thinking of the war, of the weapons with which we need to kill others. And this is the huge difference with Russia. They invest 90% of what they earn into the production of missiles. Surprisingly, but these days in Ukraine, the Russian missiles, they consist of different chips from all over the world. Including some pieces of even Japanese equipment. So this is about the sanctions that, even third countries who participate as intermediaries, they should also have liability for what they do, because they know that they buy this stuff here in order then to sell it to Russian. And to help them construct these missiles that tomorrow will come to Ukraine and kill citizens.
Just a follow-up, you said there are some chips going to Russian missiles from Japan. Do you have more details about this?
I think our intelligence services, they have proofs, actually. They have photos and they have all the information about this.
From Japan.
A few words. That very hard to fix. How is the way? For example, Japanian chips goes to Russia, and as I know, our intelligence services periodically, officially ask the people from Japanese, but the answer is very. It's really the situation. It's very dangerous to fix the trick how it goes this way and that way, because we are living in developed society, the trading countries and so on. But every government must they all the best to to organize and to stop the way how they go to Russia. Yeah.
Thank you. If I may ask a question, I'm sorry, I cannot resist but ask this question. It's about the session at the White House between President Trump and President Zelensky. We know what happened, and was there any impact inside Ukraine about that session, especially in the parliament and in the streets? Would you please tell us what is the feeling of Ukrainian people and parliamentary people about what happened, and how do you evaluate it? Thank you.
President of Ukraine has full support of Ukrainian citizens. Of course, we saw it in live broadcast. I think that half of the world observed this talks in online format. I've got a number of messages from ordinary people of Ukraine who have my cell phone that full respect to the president, he behaved with dignity, he didn't do anything wrong. And Ukrainian nation provided and granted to the president of Ukraine full support, not only because, he was there representing the whole Ukraine, the whole nation, not only himself. That's why We have some recent polls, and after these negotiations in the White House, his support among Ukrainians even increased. Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
I want to add something that Ukraine proud of his president, not only Ukrainian society, as I read, but the main countries, supports Zelensky, especially after Washington meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. That means you were against the position of President Trump. Can I interpret that? If you supported Zelensky, it means you were like condemned that the way he was treated.
I had a couple of personal meetings with President Zelensky afterwards, and on every meeting he told, like, sorry, I'm not in the costume.
He was not in a suit. All right, that was interesting. More questions? Yes, please.
Hi, I'm Tanaka from Asahi again. Just two questions. I just want to clarify the purpose of your visit today, this time, to Japan. Basically, I'm told that you are basically meeting those government people, parliament people, to thank the support. Am I correct? What was your basically purpose of the visit, and is there any outcome or anything that you gained from the visit this time?
Yeah. We've got invitation from the parliament, from Mori Sensei. He's the head of the friendship group of relations between Japan and Ukraine. So we accepted his kind invitation, and basically the first point is that we would like to confirm and express our gratitude to your people for the support that you provided, and we do know that these days you have discussions of the next budget, so how the fiscal year would look like. That's highly important for us, that the provision of support to Ukraine will be also mentioned in your budget, and this is something that we ask all the parliamentarians in our meetings in different formats, so that it's highly important for Ukraine that support will be provided also for the next year. We do understand that you have your own issues that you have to deal with in terms of parliamentary activities and governmental world, but take into account recent situation when the U.S. support was frozen to Ukraine, and you know that USAID stopped operating in Ukraine, and not only in Ukraine. So yesterday we discussed with JICA on what can be done and what kind of areas that were previously covered by USAID, if they can be at least partially covered by JICA, and what are their priorities. Yeah.
I want to add that our delegation consists of 5 people, the Ukrainian part of our group, which represent different committees. As for me, there is 2 people from Energy Committee. We have people from, Anti-Corruption Committee as well.
Head of Anti-Corruption Committee.
Head of Anti-Corruption. And Alexei Movchan is from Economic Committee. And Galyna completely right that we discuss practical issues from energy to, for example, demining in Ukraine. You know that Ukraine now is the most mining country in the world. And so we have a lot of years to demine it. And we're very proud and very thankful to Japanese people that 1/3 of demining machines are Japanese machines and heavy machines that work on our fields. And we look forward when we're discussing about, maybe some joint ventures to arrange production in Ukraine of demining machines that must be ourselves. This is, the practical side, not a political, but practical side we have to discuss with Japanese colleagues.
More questions? All right, let me ask another question while my colleagues are thinking about their questions. please let me move to the Middle East. In Syria, there was a revolution, and the former regime is removed. And the head of that regime, Bashar Assad, is now in Russia, enjoying political asylum, or I don't know what he's doing there. Why do you think Russia took him to Russia with his family and reported billions of dollars? And do you think Russia would give him back to the Syrian government? Current Syrian government actually demanded that Russia extradite him back to Syria. How do you anticipate the Russian position on this, basically? Although it's not about Ukraine, but maybe you have some experience about it. Thank you.
It's very hard to anticipate Russian behavior because it's not normal usually. So they usually perform the facts that human beings will not even think that that's possible to behave in this way in terms of violence and inhuman behavior. So we do hope that recent changes are for the prosperity also of Syria, and we do hope that justice will prevail not only in Ukraine but also on the territory of Syria, because a number of civilians suffered a lot recent years because of the regime that was there and because of the crimes that were committed on the territory of Syria.
Haldan, thank you very much for this issue. We discussed before in the room before, and I said, Haldan, we have the similar situation, but because Yanukovych also stay in Russia here, and that was some voices from Putin that we fixed, regime in Ukraine, and we will be bring back Yanukovych. Do you see, just like a familiar, the situation? Both dictators, Yanukovych also Ukrainian dictator, that what we stay in Maidan, we made a revolution to elect, democratically free president, but situation is very, very similar.
I would like to ask a question more about Russia. Russia, in my opinion, is also a kind of mentally damaged empire, and that causes many actions which are, of course, negative. But how are the population reacting to, they don't get the news as it happens, we all don't, but if your son dies on the field, there must be now maybe 100,000 mothers without their sons coming back. How does the Russian population see the situation with Ukraine? Aren't they really pushing for getting that resolved? Is there an underground movement in Russia trying to resolve this in fairness?
Ukrainians are very much different from Russia. We have different values. We have different principles of life. What we have from our intelligence sources is that when the war started, our intelligence, they presented us the messages on some social media where Russian wives, they were asking Russian soldiers to rape as many Ukrainian women as possible. In Russia, they have very low income in terms of population, not in Moscow and St. Petersburg, but in other areas. That's why when the Russian soldier dies on the territory of Ukraine, the social package that the family gets is huge. And the reality is that they're happy to get the social package, to buy a new car, to pay for loans, etc. And it's like we are surprised with this attitude, but we do not see any thorough, they get money compensation and they're completely satisfied and they're fine with it. When we talk about Ukrainian family and if son, brother, husband was killed, it's a tragedy for Ukrainian family. Yes, of course, there is also compensation from government, but no money can substitute your beloved one next to you. this is very much different attitude towards compensation package and the fact that you have lost your beloved one. So that's why Ukrainians, we do not understand the behavior, as you told, that it's mentally damaged, yes, country. The problem is that they have, we called it Zombo TV. So this is brainwashed machine. All the medias are, constructed in a way that they brainwash Russian population with certain messages and ideas that Ukrainians, we should not exist as a nation, and that they think that we are like Nazi, but we are not. So that's why completely different values, completely different principles, and for us, for President of Ukraine, for the government of Ukraine, we fight for every single life of Ukrainians. And if Russian soldiers make some movements on the front line, this is to preserve, first of all, the lives of Ukrainians. Yeah.
A few words interesting. This is a very, very moment. Galyna completely right that many years, propaganda wash machine pushing that America, for example, is imperialism and so on and so on. What they will do now. United States as a partner, turn back, and the interesting thing that, as you know, they stole our history, they stole our rules, because all the history came from Kiev and Rus. It's 1,600 year, and Saint Volodymyr Christ, all the Rust in Kiev, not in country, in the history. Our history is 1,600. About the Moscow, it's 8,050 years, and they change Kiev and Rus for 800 years. They change Kiev and Rus for a Rus, and that's a little bit not that Kiev or Rus, and that goes that way, that proclaimed everything and pushing the TV machines here.
I have a question online from Martin Fokler of the New York Times. He said the question about your expectation directed toward Japan. If the war does stop, what role do you ask Japan to play in reconstruction? In particular, do you have any requests involving the Chernobyl site, which was damaged by the fighting? Thank you.
Ukraine is a contributor to the security in the whole world, and we do not only ask for security guarantees for Ukraine, but our army is ready to provide security to other countries. Because unfortunately, Ukrainian army is the only one army in the world that has experience of how to behave on the front line with Russians and how to have success in this regard. We do believe that Japan should play a huge role in the creation of system of the new order, and we are ready to cooperate with Japan in terms of building a new, peaceful, prosperous world together. Yesterday we've discussed a number of initiatives with JICA, and together today we will continue to discuss it with your minister, State Minister for Infrastructure. That we have a number of common projects to discuss, because Japan is a leader in a number of innovations. You have a huge experience how to rebuild quickly cities after earthquakes, after different kind of disasters, how to build quick, modern, prosperous cities with great, comfortable infrastructure. So we have a lot to learn from. And we do hope that, again, victorious peace will come soon. But the principles of the President of Ukraine that we are not waiting till the end of the war, but we start reconstruction now, because we have more than 300,000 of Ukrainian citizens. They don't have homes to go to because Russia just destroyed these homes with missiles. So we already start reconstruction projects now, or if it is long-term project, we would like to have the plan already there, so that after the victorious peace in Ukraine, we could immediately start implementation of this plan, but not to lose time for planning activities.
And of course, we are looking for Japanese technologies. We are to reconstruct our country. The many, as Galyna said, many residentials practically destroyed, and a very, very good experience, for example, Kobe, after earthquake, that practically is the same. And now we focus to produce all kind of the machines. First of all, the mining machines for construction machines. We have a lot of plants in Ukraine which can workable, but it will be very good. That will be some maybe joint ventures with the new Japanese technologies. We're not asking for a fish practically. We asking to how to catch the fish in the new way, for example. That's it, what we are looking for, what we are discussing with our colleagues, with the partners. Then, for example, JICA and JETRO spoke to Japanese business, private sector, official sector, and that's what we are talking about in the conversation. And our aim is also we looking for a future reconstruction.
Yes, please.
I'm not journalist.
It's all right, please.
Hello.
Yourself?
My name is Hiroshi. I'm a member of FCCJ, but I'm not a journalist. And I'm a president of the small company in this country, and we are supporting Ukrainian children in Tokyo by Red Cross and the Lions Club and the Rotary Clubs. And my company is announcing, and also we should, we stand with Ukraine. In this situation, my interest is I like to hire some Ukrainian people in Tokyo in near future. What should we do with whom? This is my question. Maybe embassy? Thank you.
Yes, I think it will be a good question to the embassy maybe after we finish our press conference. Our representatives of the embassy are here in this session hall today, so you can discuss more practically about this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I think this wraps up our event today. Thank you very much for coming. Although it's a very, also our guest here coming into today's snowing in Tokyo. Snow is white and maybe peaceful. I would like to give you a one year honorary membership to our club. So if you visit Japan again, please come to our club and discuss with our members all the recent issue about your country, and hopefully the peace will be prevailing. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Have a nice evening. Thanks.